Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Muhammad Wasim. The course is in Organic Material Chemistry, CAM 3115. The topic that we are going to discuss today is hydrothermal synthesis, which is also known as solvothermal synthesis. Actually, this topic is divided into 3 lectures. This is the lecture number 1. Key concepts are: what is hydrothermal or solvothermal synthesis? What is the main characteristics of hydrothermal or solvothermal synthesis? Advantages and application. Summary. And the last one is the examples of synthesis of nanomaterials via hydrothermal or solvothermal method. Here is the introduction. Solid state chemistry deals with synthesis, structure, properties, and applications of solid materials, and these materials are generally inorganic. Organic solids are also included since they present interesting physical properties like high electrical property, and the reactions of organic solids are connected to topochemical control. For example, they are influenced by their molecular packing arrangement. Therefore, minerals are included because they are examples of inorganic solids which occur in nature. Most of the inorganic solids are non-molecular, and their structure is determined by the manner in which atoms or ions are packed together in 3 dimensions. Their various and complex structure types are the center of appreciation of solid-state chemistry. This includes description and classification of crystal structures by the knowledge of space groups and estimation of the factors which affect and control the crystal structures. Here is some more introduction. An important structural aspect is the defect structure of solids. These defects have a great effect on properties just as mechanical strength, electrical conductivity, and chemical reactivity. These allow the various composition of solids in the framework of the same overall crystal structure. Thus, it is possible to control or modify many properties by changing the compositions. There are several methods in order to synthesize solids. These are vapor phase transport, precipitation, electrochemical methods, ceramic methods, and the last one is solvothermal or hydrothermal methods, which we are going to discuss in this lecture. Here is the description of hydrothermal synthesis. Hydrothermal synthesis method is chosen to synthesize organic and inorganic hybrid materials, since the other solid state synthesis methods are usually carried out by high temperature, mainly 1000 degrees Celsius solid-solid interactions, and this method is powerful in order to produce stable organic and inorganic hybrid materials. Now, solvothermal processes from novel materials to hybrid nanosystems. Here is the definition of solvothermal reactions. A solvothermal reaction can be defined as a chemical reaction or a transformation between precursor in a solvent in a closed system at a temperature higher than the boiling temperature of this solid and under high pressure. Because the pressure is high, that is why it is known as autogenous pressure or imposed pressure. The domain could be subcritical or supercritical, and the system would be homogeneous or heterogeneous. The term solvothermal was proposed at the beginning of 90s during the development of non-aqueous solvents. Here are some examples. Number first is synthesis and crystal growth of nitrides using liquid ammonia as a solvent, and the process known as ammonothermal process. Here ammonia is used as a solvent, that is why the process is named as ammonothermal process. Similarly, in the second example, which is the synthesis and crystal growth of iron oxide as small single crystals using ethanol as a solvent. Here, ethanol is an alcohol, that is why the process is named as alcoholothermal process. Consequently, each solvent can lead to a specific word for different processes characterized by the same feature. Here solvo means solvent and the thermal is the use of temperature. Here is the explanation of hydrothermal synthesis method. Hydrothermal synthesis method is finding increasing applications in material science and solid state chemistry. It is a technologically important method for crystal growth and synthesis of new materials with useful properties. It is also interesting scientifically because using high pressure provides an additional parameter for obtaining fundamental information on the structures, behaviors, and the properties of solids. Hydrothermal synthesis is a chemical reaction in the presence of aqueous solvents above 100 degrees Celsius and at pressure greater than 1 atm in a closed system in order to dissolve and recrystallize materials which are relatively insoluble under normal conditions. Here, 3 points are important. Number first is the temperature should be greater than 100 degrees Celsius. Number second is the pressure should be greater than 1 atm. And the third and last one is the system should be closed. In 1913, hydrothermal method described by Morey and Nigli as a method in which the components are subjected to the action of water at temperatures are usually above the critical temperature of water, that is 370 degrees Celsius, in closed bombs and therefore under the corresponding high pressures developed by such solutions. Here is the more explanation. According to the Yoshimura in 1974, hydrothermal reactions occur under the conditions of high temperatures and high pressures, that is greater than 100 degrees Celsius and greater than 1 atm in aqueous solutions and in a closed system. So most of the scientists think that hydrothermal synthesis carries out above 100 degrees Celsius temperature and above 1 atm pressure. There is no definite lower limit for temperature and pressure, which is an important point. Hydrothermal reactions is generally chosen for the synthesis or stabilization of new compounds, growth of single crystals, and preparation of finely divided materials and microcrystallites which have well-defined size and morphology. It can also be used for the filtration of ores in metal extraction, decomposition, modification, corrosion, and etching. Here is the history of solvothermal processes. The first report of hydrothermal growth of crystals was by German geologist Carl Emil in 1845. He grew microscopic quartz crystals in a pressure cooker. In 1848, Robert Bunsen reported growing crystals of barium and strontium carbonate at 200 degrees Celsius and a pressure of 15 atmosphere using sealed glass tubes and aqueous ammonium chloride as a solvent. Here we can see that all three conditions which we have discussed in previous slides are fulfilled, that is, high pressure greater than 1 atm, high temperature greater than 100 degrees Celsius, and the system is closed. In 1849 and 1851, French crystallographer Henry produced crystals of various minerals via hydrothermal synthesis. Later, in 1905, Georgia Spezia published reports on the growth of microscopic crystals. He used solutions of sodium silicate natural crystals as seeds and supply and a silver-lined vessel. By heating the supply end of his vessel to 320 to 350 degrees Celsius and the other end to 165 to 180 degrees Celsius, he obtained about 15 millimeter of new growth over a 200-day period. Unlike modern practice, the hotter part of the vessel was at the top. A shortage in the electronics industry of natural quartz crystals from Brazil during World War II led to the post-war development of commercial-scale hydrothermal process for culturing quartz crystals by A.C. Walker and Irene Bohler in 1950 at Bell Laboratories. Water is used as a medium in solvothermal or hydrothermal process. Water is the one of the most important solvent present in nature in abundant amount and has remarkable properties as a reaction medium under hydrothermal conditions. Water shows different characteristics under hydrothermal conditions than that of standard conditions. One of the biggest advantages of using water is the environmental benefit and cheaper than other solvents, and it can act as catalyst for the formation of desired materials for tuning the temperature and the pressure. It is non-toxic, non-flammable, non-carcinogenic, non-mutagenic, and thermodynamically stable. Another advantage is that water is very volatile, so it can be removed from the product very easily. Hydrothermal solvents have different properties at above 100 degrees Celsius and above 1 atm, especially at critical point. In order to understand hydrothermal reactions, the properties of solvent under hydrothermal conditions must be known very well. This is the phase diagram of water. In this, the x-axis temperature is taken in degrees Celsius, in y-axis pressure is taken in atmosphere. Here is the critical point of water above which water acts as supercritical fluid. This is the explanation of phase diagram of previous slide. The critical point marks the end of liquid-vapor coexistence curve at the critical temperature Tc and pressure Pc in a phase diagram for a pure homogeneous substance, which we have seen in last slide. A fluid is defined as being supercritical if it is maintained at conditions above its critical temperature and pressure. The properties of supercritical fluids vary depending on the pressure and temperature and frequently described as being intermediate between those of a gas and a liquid. As the temperature increases, the liquid becomes less dense due to the thermal expansion, and at the same time the gas becomes denser. At critical point, the densities of both phases becomes the same. The compound is neither liquid nor gas any longer above the critical point, and it becomes supercritical fluid. After that, the phases of liquid and gas are non-distinguishable, and the properties of supercritical fluid will be between gas and liquid. Diffusivity and viscosity symbolizes transport properties that influence rates of mass transfer. Diffusivity is at least an order of magnitude higher and viscosity is lower compared with a liquid solvent. This means that diffusivity of reactants in supercritical fluid will occur faster than that in a liquid solvent, which means that solids can dissolve and migrate more rapidly in supercritical fluids. High diffusivity, low viscosity, and intermediate density of water increases the rate of the reaction, which is important. Here is the diagram of variation of dielectric constant of water with temperature and pressure, where temperature is taken on x-axis and pressure is on y-axis. The dielectric constant, that is defined as the ability of a solvent to charge separate, increases sharply with the pressure in the compressible region that refers to the area around the critical point in which compressibility is considerably greater than would be forecasted from the ideal gas law. This behavior is also parallel to a change in density as shown in figure 2, which we have seen in previous slide. Density changes sharply but continuously with pressure in the compressible region. One of the most important advantages of hydrothermal solvents is that a change in density affects the solvating power. A decrease in the density results in a significant change in solvating ability, which is an important point to be noted. The physical and chemical properties of water and aqueous solutions in the temperature and pressure ranges required for a hydrothermal synthesis have been discussed in numerous review articles and are well known, which you can Google. The PVT data for water up to 1000 degrees Celsius temperature and 10 kilobar pressure are known accurately enough within 1% error. If the density of water is high enough, non-polar compounds may be completely miscible with it because water behaves as a non-aqueous fluid. Water is a polar solvent and its polarity can be controlled by temperature and pressure, and this can be an advantage over other solvents. That was all about the solvothermal process and its description. Hope you have understand all the concepts. Thank you and take care.